The 1980s were wild neon lights, big hair, and films so insane they got banned worldwide. These aren't just movies. They're chaotic, controversial, and completely unforgettable. From gore-filled madness to jaw-dropping scenes, these banned exploitation flicks rewrote the rules of cinema and paid the price. Cannibal Holocaust, 1980. In 1980, director Ruggero Deodato unleashed a film that would shake the very foundations of cinema. Cannibal Holocaust. Marketed as a documentary gone wrong, it follows a rescue team venturing deep into the Amazon to uncover what happened to a missing film crew. What they discover isn't just disturbing, it's downright nightmarish. With brutal tribal violence, graphic dismemberment, and scenes that looked so real, authorities thought the actors had actually been murdered. Yes, Deodato was arrested for murder, only to prove his cast was alive. But the film's most controversial feature? The very real animal killings caught on camera, which led to worldwide bans and protests. From Italy to Australia, countries shut the film down, calling it obscene, sadistic, and inhuman. But over time, Cannibal Holocaust gained cult status, hailed by some as a clever critique of media sensationalism. Is it art? Or exploitation at its most extreme? Either way, this film didn't just cross the line, it tore it to pieces. And it's still banned in several countries to this day. Make Them Die Slowly, 1981. Also known as Cannibal Ferox. Released in 1981 and marketed as the most violent film ever made, Make Them Die Slowly didn't just try to shock, it aimed to horrify. Directed by Umberto Lenzi, this Italian exploitation flick takes viewers deep into the Amazon, where a group of Westerners attempting to debunk cannibalism myths find themselves trapped in a horrifying reality. What begins as an academic trip spirals into a blood-soaked nightmare of torture, revenge, and raw savagery. With brutal scenes of mutilation, impalement, and animal cruelty, the film ignited outrage across the globe. In fact, it was so extreme that it was banned in over 30 countries, including the UK, where it earned the infamous video nasty label. Unlike some films that hid their gore behind clever edits, Make Them Die Slowly put everything on full, gruesome display. Its unflinching cruelty was both its signature and its curse. Today it stands as one of the most controversial cannibal films ever made, a grotesque relic of the exploitation era that dared to go too far and got buried for it. Men Behind the Sun, 1988. Men Behind the Sun isn't just horror, it's history at its most horrifying. Released in 1988 by Chinese director T.F. Mao, this film dares to dramatize the real-life atrocities committed by Japan's Unit 731 during World War II. The film follows Japanese military doctors conducting nightmarish human experiments on Chinese and Russian prisoners. And it doesn't hold back. We're talking frostbite testing, pressure chamber deaths, live dissections, and even plague bombs. The level of brutality is so realistic, many viewers were convinced that actual corpses were used. And in some cases, they weren't wrong. One infamous scene reportedly features a real autopsy of a child, leading to global outrage. Critics slammed it as torture porn disguised as history. Governments banned it. Viewers fainted. And yet, some praised it for exposing a hidden chapter of war crimes the world tried to forget. Men Behind the Sun isn't for the faint of heart. It's not just a banned film, it's a cinematic scream from the past, reminding us that sometimes reality is more disturbing than fiction. The Evil Dead, 1981. Before it became a cult favorite, The Evil Dead was a film so wild, it got banned in multiple countries for being too violent, too graphic, and too evil. Directed by young Sam Raimi with a micro-budget and maximum ambition, this 1981 horror ride traps 5 college students in a remote cabin and then unleashes pure hell. When they unknowingly play a recording from the Necronomicon, they summon demonic forces that possess them one by one. What follows isn't just bloody, it's an explosion of screaming, chainsaws, dismemberments, and skin-crawling possession scenes. The film's unrelenting gore landed it on the UK's infamous Video Nasties list, where it was outright banned. Critics called it a disgusting mess, but fans knew better. Raimi's frantic camera work, Bruce Campbell's iconic performance, and the DIY practical effects made this more than just horror. It was art. Banned, but never forgotten. The Evil Dead clawed its way back from censorship to become one of the most influential horror films ever made. And it all started in that cursed little cabin in the woods. Few films have ignited outrage like I Spit on Your Grave. Released in 1978 and banned across the globe throughout the 80s, this brutal revenge story was condemned as vile, sickening, and downright dangerous. The film follows Jennifer Hills, a young writer who retreats to a remote cabin to work on her novel. But instead of peace, she is met with unimaginable horror, a violent gang assault that stretches across an agonizing half-hour of screen time. What happens next flips the narrative. Jennifer survives, and then coldly, methodically hunts them down. One by one. The film doesn't flinch. It forces the audience to witness every disturbing moment, sparking debates about exploitation versus empowerment. In the UK, it was banned outright for years. In Canada, it was pulled from theaters. Even famed critic Roger Ebert called it a vile bag of garbage. And yet, others saw it as a grim tale of female vengeance. Raw and unapologetic. Love it or loathe it, I Spit on Your Grave didn't just get banned. It broke every rule of horror cinema in the process. The New York Ripper, 1982. If sleaze had a capital city in the 80s, the New York Ripper would be its king. Directed by Italian horror master Lucio Fulci, this 1982 shocker paints the Big Apple as a filthy, blood-soaked playground for a deranged killer. A maniac is on the loose, slashing, stabbing, and mutilating young women across New York, all while taunting the police in a bizarre Donald Duck voice. Yep, you heard that right. But this isn't campy horror. It's razor-sharp, gritty, and drenched in sadistic violence. What made it so infamous? The level of brutality toward women, the sexually charged murder scenes, and Fulci's unrelenting camera, which never cuts away. In fact, the violence was so extreme, the British Board of Film Classification refused to even view it for decades, let alone rate it. It was outright banned in the UK and pulled from screens in several European countries. Even horror fans called it misogynistic filth. But others praised its nightmarish style and urban paranoia. The New York Ripper didn't just cross the line, it gleefully danced on it with a switchblade in hand. Silent Night, Deadly Night, 1984. Christmas has never been the same since Silent Night. Deadly Night hit theaters in 1984. What starts as a tragic backstory quickly descends into Yuletide carnage. The film follows Billy, a young boy who witnesses his parents' brutal murder at the hands of a man in a Santa suit. Traumatized and raised in a harsh Catholic orphanage, Billy grows up scarred, until one snowy Christmas Eve, he finally snaps. Dressed as Santa himself, he goes on a grisly killing spree, punishing the naughty with axes, antlers, and holiday horror. The public reaction? Pure rage. Parents protested outside theaters, demanding it be pulled. The idea of Santa Claus, the symbol of joy, turned into a bloodthirsty slasher? It was too much for 1980s America. The film was yanked from theaters just weeks after release, and it was banned or heavily censored in multiple cities. But horror fans? They embraced it. Silent Night, Deadly Night became a cult favorite, spawning sequels and late-night rewatches. It proved that even the most sacred holidays weren't safe from the brutal bite of 1980s exploitation cinema. Absurd 1981, also known as Monster Hunter or Anthropophagus 2. From the twisted minds behind some of Italy's most gruesome horror films came Absurd, a 1981 splatterfest that went way beyond the limits of good taste. It begins with a man stumbling into an American town, his guts literally spilling out. But this isn't the victim, he's the killer. A genetically modified superhuman created by the Vatican, yes, really, now gone berserk. With the power to heal almost instantly and a thirst for blood, he starts slicing through victims with saws, drills, and other homemade horrors. The kills? Graphic. The blood? Endless. The pacing? Pure nightmare. This film doesn't aim to scare, it aims to shock. And it did. Absurd was banned in the UK as part of the video nasties panic and was labeled a corrupting influence on young minds. Critics dismissed it as tasteless trash. but Gorehounds loved it. With its eerie atmosphere, relentless violence, and that unforgettable head-in-the-oven scene, Absurd lives up to its name and earns its place as one of the most brutally banned films of the 80s exploitation era. Tenement, 1985. Tenement plunges viewers into the heart of a crumbling, crime-ridden city block where desperation turns deadly. Released in 1985, this exploitation horror film follows two escaped convicts on the hunt for revenge against anyone who crosses their path. But the real terror? The tenants, ordinary people trapped in their rundown apartments, suddenly forced to fight for survival. Brutal, unrelenting, and unapologetically violent, Tenement pulls no punches with graphic beatings, stabbings, and shootings that mirror the harsh realities of urban decay. The raw depiction of violence, especially towards women, shocked audiences and censors alike. The film was banned in the UK and several other countries for its graphic content and disturbing themes. Unlike polished horror flicks, Tenement thrived on gritty realism and chaotic fear, making viewers feel like they were right there, locked in with danger. A brutal time capsule of 1980s urban nightmares, it's no surprise this film got blacklisted. But it remains a cult classic for those who crave exploitation's darkest corners. Possession, 1981. Possession isn't your typical horror flick. It's a nightmarish descent into madness, passion, and pure psychological terror. Directed by Andrzej Zulawski, this 1981 film follows Anna and Mark, a couple whose marriage unravels into chaos after Anna's mysterious behavior spirals out of control. What starts as emotional turmoil soon twists into something far darker, as Anna's actions reveal a monstrous secret hiding beneath her fragile exterior. Filled with shocking imagery, surreal scenes, and intense performances, especially from lead actress Isabella Gianni. The film is a wild, unrelenting journey through love, obsession, and horror. Its graphic violence, sexual content, and disturbing themes pushed many censorship boards over the edge, leading to bans and cuts worldwide. Though critics were divided, Possession has since become a cult classic, praised for its raw emotion and boundary-pushing visuals. It's not just a banned film. It's a haunting experience that lingers long after the credits roll, reminding viewers that sometimes the greatest horrors lie within.